Here's some of the tools I use to make videos. They don't cost all that much, and the quality of the work produced is pretty good. I use the Canon M50 as my primary camera. I used to shoot video with the Canon 5D Mark III, which I still use for stills. So why did I step down, at least cost-wise, to an M50? One simple reason: dual pixel autofocus. It frees me from trying to pull focus on moving shots, which has always been very difficult. I use the ProAm 4-foot DVC-50 Jib for some shots, and I really rely on a little Glide Gear Dev 235 23.5-inch slider. I rely pretty heavily on a Canon 22mm f2.0 STM lens, especially if I have to record audio in camera. The STM lens focuses near silently, so it doesn't affect the audio. If I'm using a separate soundtrack, I use a Viltrox adapter plus Canon EF lenses, such as the nifty 50 shown here and the 35mm lens. Non-STM lenses on the M50 sound like a meat grinder when they try and focus. This really has an impact on your audio. On the other hand, if you just manually focus, there's no issue at all, and the M50 supports focus peaking, which works really well. The Viltrox adapter I think runs about $160 US, and it's well worth it. It allows you to use all of your Canon EF lenses, which work really well in the M50. You get an extra stop of light, and it's almost like full frame. When I shoot music videos over a separate track, I always use this setup. The ProAm Jib is new to me. I've only had it a few days, but I really like it. Here it is without any counterbalance weights on the end of a camera attached. I first started using the Jib mounted on top of a ball head, but that just didn't work out very well. Even though the Jib is only 4 feet long, it can be really tough to handle using a ball head, especially when it's loose. So the first thing I bought was a 3/8-inch panning bearing mount. This is available from ProAm, and I got it at B&H for about $60. This makes setup and life a lot easier when you're using this Jib. Not only can you pan up and down, but you can go side to side, swivel 360 degrees, get all sorts of cool angles for your shots. If you're contemplating getting one of these Jibs, I highly recommend the ball bearing mount. So here's some shots using the Jib. I use Final Cut Pro 10 for post-processing, and I slow the clips down 50%, and for video quality I use optical flow. This makes it nice and smooth. If you plan on slowing down your clips in post-processing, then you can sweep the Jib at a lot faster rate than you would normally. I like to mix it up with just straight Jib shots and then do a little bit of slowdown. I also have an Aperture Monitor that I use on occasion, and here it is attached to the M50 on the crane, and I always use a small rig cage with my M50. If anyone's interested in a review of the monitor with the M50, just leave a comment below. So here's a Jib shot with the tripod fully extended. It's got a pretty wide arc on it. See, it almost hits the top of the garage. The classic use of a Jib is for establishing shots, but you can get really creative with this thing, and I'm looking forward to practicing with it. My favorite tool by far is a Glide Gear little 23.5-inch slider. I just love this thing. I have a small Manfrotto ball head on top, and it just works perfect with the M50. The slider is completely manual, and it takes a little practice to get smooth with it, but that, coupled with optical flow processing and slowing it down 50%, it looks really good. Here's some B-roll I did for a music video I just completed. I used the slider, and again, here's where dual pixel autofocus shines. I could have never pulled focus like this using the slider. I'm a one-man production crew, and autofocus really helps. So here's some shots in the backyard using the slider. Some of the clips are slowed and smooth, others aren't. So why do I love the Canon M50? Dual pixel autofocus. I'm a one-man production crew, as I said. I'm always alone on shoots, and this really saves the day when I'm doing slider shots or using the Jib. And again, if I'm in a situation where I really need to manually focus very precisely on something with intent, then the M50 supports really good focus peaking, so it makes it very easy to do. It was really bright the day I shot this, and I shot this with the 22mm STM lens. I used a 6-stop ND filter for this, just to get a little bit of depth of field. If anyone's watched my previous videos, you know that I've shot a lot in my backyard. Well, I'm moving to a new city next week, and I'm going to have to leave it. So it kind of is a little troubling, but one door closes and another one opens to new opportunities, and I'll have to start from scratch again. So I just hope the garden's taken care of, and I'm really going to miss it. So, as always, this is Jeff. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.